We're joined now by Beth Bennett, who's going to tell us how to be prepared for any disaster. And I got to tell you, when I was on city council in Seward, you go to the Alaska Municipal League and they have an auction that raises money for smaller places to send their representatives to AML and get good training. Mm-hmm. So one thing as Seward we decided to donate was a disaster preparedness kit. And we grabbed up one of those old tins of survival biscuits from World War II, as well as the Ranger book on how to take care of yourself and what the Boy Scouts put out on, wilderness and living in that way. And we put together a nice little kit, and I just wrote on there, Mayor Tom needs to buy this. And he did. Not Tom, I'm sorry, Mark Begich. And he did. And it was the funnest event I've ever done because every time he'd write down a number, someone would come and raise it up knowing that he had to buy it.
Absolutely.
Now, Anchorage still has that. I've actually seen the tin on their shelves, but what do we do besides having a bunch of survival biscuits to be prepared for really any disaster, not just a fire?
Well, you definitely bring up a good topic of discussion is whether or not you have survival biscuits. It's an interesting thing to talk about. Whether or not people actually have proper food in place. If they have meals that can survive a couple of years, maybe in storage of sorts. In your home, if you have water, if you have food, for instance, nationally they say 3 days. Of course, Alaska likes to ask for at least 7, but in preparedness mind, you really want to kind of think about long-term disaster purpose. Mm-hmm. In Alaska, we're so separated from the lower 48, and so it might be a little bit longer than 7 days. So we ask people to have food, as long as they possibly can store for. So food that won't go bad, that'll last a while.
Eat.
Absolutely. Stuff that, sometimes we also mention that people have comfort items. So if it's a chocolate bar or if it's coffee, mm-hmm. things that people really do survive on a daily basis.
I was always told that you should go to the store, buy what you're normally going to buy, and then double it, and then rotate those items out on your food storage mm-hmm. so that they keep in date, and that when you go to buy it, it still or go to use it, it's not 20 years old and doesn't have nutritional value anymore.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely do check those expiration dates. There's a lot of storage material that you can keep for a very long time, and there's some stuff that'll go bad in 2 weeks. And so we'll have a list of items that people can actually look into. So if they go to our website, they can actually find a list of information on materials that are best kept for mm-hmm. long terms, and also storage suggestions on whether or not if you have Tupperware containers, stuff that won't go bad, of course, with air or water exposure. Mm-hmm. Maybe strong containers, stuff that might not get crushed under an earthquake or something like that. And so it really all depends on the areas that you live in. If we're facing earthquakes, wildfires, floods, avalanches, there's a good list of information out there on our website that you can gather information on.
And I'm guessing things like keeping batteries fresh and extra batteries are also very mm-hmm. important. Things like matches that we don't necessarily use very often, but you should have a good supply of?
Yes, definitely when you mention that, food's not the only thing that we should definitely be thinking about. If you've got anything to keep yourself warm, a blanket, extra clothing, a hat, socks, boots, in your vehicle, not just in your home. If you actually have a survival kit in your vehicle as well too, because you never know if you're going to get stuck on the side of the road in a winter storm. Mm-hmm. So there's a long list of stuff that you can actually get a little bit more involved in and pick the specific kit that you need for your environment, and just really invest into that kit and make it perfect for yourself and also for your family, not only for yourself but for your children and also for your pets as well too.
I have a friend who has he has this to-go bag mm-hmm. that he puts in the closet by his door that's filled with the items that he would save out of his house should there be a fire that are most precious to him. And that's the grab and go.
The go bag, certainly.
And it's everything of duplicates from the photographs mm-hmm. that he has on his calendar or his computer to extra medications and things like that.
Certainly. The most important is prescription information. If you've got important documents, passports, birth certificates.
Or at least a copy of them.
Certainly, certainly. There's any time that you actually can have something that's going to help you down the road. When, again, to a house fire or a flood, if you lose those documents, it's going to be pretty difficult to get them back, and it's going to take a bit of time and also cause a little bit undue stress that is not necessary. So certainly if people can actually provide more information for themselves down the road, just to kind of make things a little smoother for themselves.
It's also nice, I hear, to put little comfort items in for the kids. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, toys. We definitely recommend toys, of course, specific to their ages. You mentioned that food goes bad. Well, kind of toys expire as well too. So if you've got a baby, and of course a pacifier is going to be one thing, but as they're teenagers now and your kid's a little bit older in age, I think it's going to be beneficial to make sure that you're keeping an eye on that kid to make sure it's up to date.
Really great advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, stick with us. We'll be right back in just a moment.